Hello, hello. How are you? I hope you're doing good. I do. So, we've got something new again, and I'm super excited. Can't wait. I know. I'm sure you saw in the thumbnail. Okay, but before we get into that, y'all know my usual thing is go grab a snack, something to drink. I've got my coffee. Cheers. Sit back, relax, and let's dive into this video. Okay, so what we are doing is a little collab with a few of us, and we all splurged and got the new Jeffree Star. I know I joke around and I'm like, he who we shall not name. Because I know that everyone has an opinion. Well, not everybody. Some people really don't care. I'm just not a drama person. So I really haven't been up on what's been going on with him. The stuff that I did see a little while ago, wasn't too happy about it. So I just kind of distanced myself. But of course, he came out with a new palette. And y'all know me. I am a neutral addict. Obsessed with neutrals. Completely. So for the first time, I got myself, I mean, seriously, first time ever, I got myself a new release. Yeah. I usually do not get new releases just because I can't afford it. And amongst other things, I do watch all y'all and I get super jealous sometimes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta have that. But I don't know, unless I can find it cheap on Mercari or something. I usually don't get it. So, but that's fine. I have more than enough and I do feel super blessed. So, yeah, but I did splurge and get this because, like I said, I'm obsessed with neutrals. So I did get the new palette. I got the bundle with the small mini shimmer palette. Not a big, super big fan of the name. My husband was like, honey, what is this stuff? Is this like a porn book or something? I'm like, no, babe. I'm like, it is just an eyeshadow palette because it looked like a book, you know, kind of sitting on the thing. But anyway, yeah, so either way, but a few of us all kind of got together and we were like, hey, let's, because we all were super excited that we all ordered this, and we started chit-chatting about, hey, why don't we do a joint collab and give our first impression review, give you just an idea of our thoughts and everything on this new release palette. So I'm sure all of y'all have already seen a lot of reviews and a lot of try-ons and stuff like that. So I am not going to drag this out too long. Hopefully, because y'all know me, I get super chit-chatty and I have ADD, so I tend to jump from subject to subject. So I will try not to do that. Cheers. So the other people that we are doing this joint collab with is obviously me, yours truly, Jeannie over at Unfiltered 50s, Karen Ann MUA over at Karen Ann MUA, Becca's Beauty Journey over at Becca's Beauty Journey, and it's Amanda. That's her channel. Hey, it's Amanda. And I will link all of their channels down in the description box. So you can go jump over and watch their videos and see how we differ in our opinions. And they did grace us with the beautiful Jeffree Star packaging and the pretty paper, and everything was delivered beautifully. Nothing was damaged. I had no issues. I did not get anything other than this bundle that was beyond pricey enough for me. But I was super happy when I got it. And I love the colors in general, other than the name of the palette. I do love this soft peachy pink color. And I love that he's on the cover, Jeffree Star, with his pink hair. And I mean, I was initially a little bit disappointed about the packaging. The fact that this is just a plain cardboard palette. I guess we've all, maybe not all of us, but some of us, I know some of his other palettes have the basic cardboard packaging. I get it. But I'm always super excited when he releases something that has super extravagant packaging. And I kind of expect that from him. Just saying. Especially, you know, with some of these, you know, big releases and stuff like that. But, you know, it's fine. I like the colors and stuff like that. The softness of the pinks and the peaches. And honestly, I know on the smaller palette, it's got people all over it doing you know what in the name. But when I first looked at it, it almost looked like flowers, soft pink flowers. So didn't really mind it too much. Thinking it was flowers. But either way, I still was okay. You know, little, you know, poopy that the packaging wasn't a little more extravagant, but that's okay. Cheers. Now, of course, opened up my palette, and we will open her up. Came with a gorgeous mirror. Really good size. Takes up, I mean, almost the whole other side of the palette. And this entire large palette is all mattes. So I was super excited that one palette was dedicated to all mattes and the other palette was dedicated to shimmers. I really like that idea. I know some people would like them incorporated together, even if it's just to save a couple dollars and getting one palette. But I do love the number of options we have in mattes, because being older, you know, the ripe old age of being a month before turning 49, mattes work so much better with my aging eyes and my wrinkles and stuff like that. So again, love the assortment of mattes. And then of course the smaller palette, there is a tiny mirror in this one, still a very good size. And as you can see, Mom has been using it, but these are all your shimmers, and was really happy with those. Really loved the colors and the, just the color story, everything. Now, next, obviously, I could not wait to dive into this palette. Couldn't wait. So I literally was up at night taking all my makeup off. No, I didn't take all my makeup off. I just took my eye makeup off and redid some of my concealer and stuff like that. So I still had a face of makeup just to get the full kind of effect of the look. And put my eye primer on, put some setting powder over that. Then I dove into this palette. And I used one of the colors from this bottom row, I can't really remember which one, to just cover my lid completely, did a transition shade, and then a darker shade. Now, y'all, Mama cried. Yeah, I did. I was so upset. I literally started crying. I could not get the colors to blend. They were blotchy. They were not going on smoothly. And generally, you know, I dab them on the outside where I want the bulk of the color. Then I blend them from there. They were not working for me in any way, shape, or form. And I made sure, like, what did I use? Okay, I used my MAC paint pot. And then I was using the Ciate London Watermelon setting powder, which was super silky, and just, I was really enjoying it. Yeah. So, was using all of that. And the palette was not working for me in any way, shape, or form. I couldn't get it to work. I kept adding more color and blending using different brushes. You name it, I tried it. Ended up bawling, messaging my friend Jeannie over at Unfiltered 50s, and I was just like, oh my God, in tears. This palette sucks. Literally. I couldn't get the shimmers to work. Nothing. And we were going back and forth. Thank God she was up and she talked to me. And either way, she says to me, look, what you need to do is try a different eye primer and setting powder. Don't stress about it. Just start changing things up little by little and find what works best. Because initially I swore, okay, this is a different formula. This is, you know, cheeseball palette that he just put out to make the money. That's why it wasn't selling out. And this is bull. I mean, you name it. I bashed it. I bashed it. Well, okay, Jeannie made me feel so much better. So I got some sleep that night. The next morning, of course, I did what she said. And I dove right back into the palette. And I used my Marc Jacobs eye primer that I had just gotten in. And I used my Becca Hydra Mist setting powder to start off initially. Guys, I was in tears again. Because it worked. Oh my gosh. I was happier than a pig in a mud pit. Yeah, I know. I'm from the South. Cheers. So, yes. If you get this palette and you have any issues with it and you are ticked off, before you return it, try a different eye primer, try a different setting powder to set it, try different brushes, mix things up a little bit. And before you really throw this in the trash or return it or whatever, because at that point I was in love and I was no longer stressing, and my tears were tears of happiness because for my first, you know, new release purchase, it wasn't a dud, which is what I feared, is that just my luck. The first time I actually purchase a new release, it's going to be, I'm going to get screwed. But I didn't, thankfully. So, either way, I have now used the palette numerous times. I continued using the same primer, which here it is. This primer I find amazing. I did get it in Boxy pop-up, and I wish I had gotten a couple of them now. Super bummed out. But it goes on really, really silky, and then it dries to a more tacky, you know, texture. But there's what it looks like. You know, it doesn't really, it's not white, but it's, nor is it like a concealer color. And when you blend it in, it just disappears completely. But again, it just goes on so silky and spreads out beautifully. And then I just set it with, I've just been using the Becca Hydro Mist that I have. And I also have a Del 10 setting powder that I've also tried, and that works fine too. So far, so good. Now, again, I've used the palette several times. Hold on, let me find this. And what I've actually started doing as of this week, getting ready for this video, is playing with it and actually using the large palette, because again, it's a large palette. There is so much to choose from color wise, because you've got some of these, you know, kind of reddish, you know, burnt colors, and, you know, more neutral browns, warmer colors like these grayish and stuff like that. So I was like, initially I was kind of playing with all of them and trying to put like the cooler colors together and stuff like that. But this week, what I started actually doing is starting at row 1 and just using these colors for a look. And then row 2 and row 3 and so on. So I've already done a couple looks with the different rows. Today's look, I did go back to row 1 just because, you know, I wanted to, I don't know, just start from the beginning, you know. I did use this light, you know, really light white color. I put it up here and in here in the corner, because that's where I put my lightest shimmer shades. So I wanted those to pop a little bit more, but I used this in those areas as my base, and then the yellowy on the rest of my eyelid as a base. And then I started with this one as my transition, this one in my crease, and this one on the outside corner. And then I used these two on my under eye, and then this one to soften my under eye and this outside area up just a tad. So I also today used, in the shimmers, I used this one. This one is more of a topper. It doesn't have too much color, and it's got some sparkles in it, but I got a little napkin here. And then I'm obsessed with this color here. I use that on the inside corner. But here's the look I did today. And as you can see, I kind of went all the way in, down here, and then down and out, which is not something I normally do, but I definitely wanted something just a tad more dramatic and to play with this a little bit more. And then of course the shimmer, and then my under eye. And I also used a whitish highlight eyeliner on my waterline. But honestly, you guys, I am really obsessed with this palette. I have been having so much fun playing with it, and let me pull this up and give you, here are some swatches of the shimmers. Look at how pretty these colors are. Now, some of the shimmers work easier than others. I know that there was some type of release about the formula not being that great, but I really haven't had any issues with it. Some of the shimmers are creamier than others. Some of them feel a little bit drier. I've used the shimmers dry. Like my eye look today, I used the shimmer dry on a regular stiff brush. No issues at all, and it blended out beautifully. I've used the shimmers wet. So here are a few of those shimmer colors. That reddish pink, it looks like a duochrome. And here is some swatches. This is the reddish pink, which I've been having some issues with. This is the color that I'm obsessed with, and I've been using almost every day. Here's a nice dark one, which this is a shimmer, but it doesn't look too shimmery. Then here's the green one that's over in the corner. Here are the other ones. And this one, again, is creamier than the others. These three feel a little more dry. And you can see the difference when you swatch them. Look at how much this creamier one pops than these two. And then you've got this one, which is a lot creamier. And then this one is drier. So and this is a drier one. These shimmers, you really need to almost, yeah, this is the white right here, which you can really barely see. These shimmers, you really need to figure out each one individually, which is a little bit frustrating. But at the same time, I still love them. Now, I know with some of his palettes, the colors are so pigmented and they're really hard to get off when cleaning and stuff like that. I have not had that issue with this palette, either of these palettes. They're cleaning off just fine. So, I will actually, let me dry this. Dry. I'm just going to give you a few swatches out of the matte. But as you can see, I mean, these are just so wonderful to work with. All the mattes and everything. The shimmers have been the hardest, I find, to work with in this collection. But the mattes, I'm just obsessed with. They go on so beautifully. They pack on such good color, and they're buildable, so you can start off really slow and build it up to exactly where you want it color wise and depth, and then they blend out awesome. You may need to switch up some of the brushes you're using. I'm just getting some swatches here. Do like a reddish. So here are some of the matte swatches. Look at that black. It's just incredible. I have not used the black yet, but I am super excited to use it. So, I mean, they do look a tad blotchy. So yes, that is my review. I love it. I know some people have mixed opinions, but I gave you the good, the bad, and the ugly on this. So I gave you, my lowest low when I got this palette initially, and then I gave you my highest high when I finally figured out, thanks to Jeannie, changing up some of the things and my primer and stuff like that, how it's going to work best for me. And I mean, if I could, I would wear this palette every day, because you can use it for everything from an everyday, very natural look to a very extravagant, smoky evening look. And again, I am just absolutely obsessed with it. I could not be happier. And it is truly one of the best purchases I've made this year. I have no regrets. And I'm glad I got it. Definitely. So that is it. Thank you so much for coming to hang out and sharing in this collab we are doing. I am curious to see everyone else's opinions on this palette and what they think and their first impressions and stuff like that. Obviously, my first impression was not great at all. For me to be bawling, literally. But it worked out awesome in the end, and I'm so glad it worked out. Cheers. Thanks as always. I hope y'all are having a great weekend, and definitely welcome in fall. I hope it gets here sooner than later, because the heat down here has been horrendous. But as always, thank you for hanging out with me. I love chit-chatting with you guys in my premieres. And as always, I love you. Love you bunches. I will talk to y'all soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.